Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second shelf and to my plans and goals video for 2024. It's now the 27th. So last Sunday on the 24th, I made a video revisiting the 2023 reading year. So I had a couple of things that I wanted to think about in terms of plans and goals for this year. It's nothing spectacular. I just will go on reading, but still, I thought I'll share my general plans with you. Again, like in the revisited video, I have to look at my notes. And if I open them, you will have this glare of the light. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so the first things are these regular. Let me just get rid of it. So these regular things. I told you in my previous video, my Goodreads challenge will be set at 177. I'm really curious about the color. It's always a disappointment. I never like the color of the Goodreads challenge, the banner. But my goal will be set at 177. In case you're wondering, or you haven't watched the previous video, it's just a number I came up with because it's my birthday. And I always read between 150 and 190 books a year. So 177 is not a goal in that sense, but it's just a good number. I do want to, again, be conscious about the books that I pick, the translated works that I read. I really look for translated books, that I look for books by PoC-authors, that my nonfiction, I don't really have to do anything for that. I read nonfiction anyway, so it's not that I have to, think, oh, I need to read more nonfiction. That goes naturally. And something that I forgot to mention in that revisited video, the goal is always the same. If you follow my channel, you know that, to read more books than I bring in. So I have no limitations or restrictions in terms of I only can buy this many books, or my TBR has to be such and such, but I have to read each month. And if it doesn't happen one month, at the end of the year, I have to have read more books than I acquired. And that works for me. And it also works in terms of numbers. I count everything that I read, even if it's, a book on script or a book from the library. And I count everything that I bring in, whether it's presents or whether I buy them myself or whether I get a book from the publisher. All books that are brought in, that number has to be smaller than all the books that I read. And that's worked perfectly for me. But in 2024, I do want to change the way that I acquire books a little bit. I used to, when I was still living in Amsterdam, I don't know, there is something bugging me here. Okay. I used to go to the bookstore every Saturday, or almost every Saturday. And I picked, I'm not buying something every time, but, I would buy a book or two books and I would read them, and then I would go back and buy some more. Now that I live in Cologne, I think I told you, at least for those of you who follow me for some time, there is no bookstore here that carries English books. I mean, the big chains have one or two bookcases, this size bookcases with English books, but there is no bookstore. Like in Amsterdam, I had 4 bookstores carrying English books. The American bookstore, Waterstones. I had a fantastic secondhand bookstore, the Book Exchange. So it was no problem getting English books, English language books. And my reading for 99.9% is in English. I read 1 or 2 German books a year, maybe, but the main reading is in English. So I started ordering books, from various outlets, from the bookstore, and because it takes a while, I order in bulk. So at the end of each month, I look, what do I want to read next month? And then I order a couple of books, 5, 6, 7, sometimes more. And that just doesn't work for me because there were too many unread books left over each month. And I unhauled a fair amount of books at the end of the year, which I normally never do. I never unhaul books, but I did it last week because there were just too many books lingering that I know I have no interest anymore in reading. And that's a shame, and it's a pity also for the books. So I want to try to find bookstores that can deliver relatively fast when it comes to English books, so that I can order 1 or 2 books and next week or the week after 1 or 2 more books. So I want to change that, my way of acquiring books in that sense. So hopefully that will work. Yes, the Readathons. I will still do Victober and Nonfiction November. I will also participate in the book Naturalist book club. They have a fantastic list in 2024, and it's all female authors, so I can participate and talk about it on the channel. I will leave links to both the announcement video made by Heidi and by Doris down below. And if you're not familiar, those two run the book Naturalist book club, and they pick a book, sometimes 2 each month, that is about nature. It's nonfiction heavy, but there is also fiction in it. And from the books they picked for 2024, I have read 1. So it's a fantastic way of discovering authors talking about nature. So if you don't know about the book club, please check out their list and see whether you can participate. And it's very chill. You just read the book, and they both make a video, a review video at the end of the month. So there is not, there's no stress involved in this book club. What else? Ongoing plans. And yeah, I will talk about the BookTube prize first, because I will certainly do that again. I already signed up. I will focus, I think, for the whole prize on nonfiction. That just works better for me than the fiction. And again, there's still time to sign up as a judge. I will leave a link to the Call for Judges video by Robert down below. Give it a think. You don't have to commit for the whole season. 1 segment, 6 books. 1 grouping. That's all you have to commit to if you don't want to commit to the whole shebang. So the BookTube prize I will most certainly do. Let's go back to ongoing plans and projects. The 1001 project. I already told you in the last video, of course I will go on. There is 501 books left. So I will try to read again 50-something books this year. And the difference with last year is that I'm co-hosting Sandy's book club, because Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot, she also has this challenge, and she focuses on these books that you can buy, 1001 books you have to read, and she combined all of them, so it's 1,300 books she has to read. And we compared our lists, because my list is exclusively female, and we came up with 10 books that are on both lists, and those books we will read for the book club. So I'm co-hosting her book club. There's 10 books that I'm committed to reading, and it's fun also to have people going along. So that's fantastic. I will leave links to both mine and her announcement video in the description box. So that's really fantastic. I will I have quite a substantial stack left on the bookshelf. It's about 20 books that I bought last year for the 1001 book list that I didn't read. So again, with the acquiring books change, I really want to have a look that I can focus on those books, because it's a pity if they just hang there on the shelf. The Global South and the classics, yes. Well, the classics, I already made an announcement video. I will leave a link in the description box. And this time I really will, because I remembered that in the revisited video, I said I will, but then I didn't, because it's actually an announcement for this year. So never mind. But here I will leave a link to my announcement video. And if you watch this, I scaled it down to 6 books. So not 12 anymore, but 6, 2 months for each book. And I also already announced which book we will read in which month. Because a lot of you who wanted to read along said, if you announce the book at the end of the month for next month, I don't have the time to get it from the library, or get a copy, a used copy, find a used copy, or fit it into my reading plans. So I think it works better, probably, if I announce already all 6 books, and then you can have a look whether you want to participate, and you have 2 months to read the book. So hopefully, this will work better for me and for you for next year. What was the other one? Oh yeah, the Global South. As I said in my revisited video, I still like this project, trying to read more broadly, not only read Western literature that is easily accessible and is talked about everywhere, but try to find authors from the so-called Global South. But the project was just too broad. I need to focus, and I need to find something that I'm really interested in for reasons. And I made a video about Palestine literature a couple of weeks back, and I thought I'm really interested in that. I have very little knowledge of Palestine literature, and I feel it's something that I want to expand my horizon. So what I will do, at least for the first half of the year, is I will focus on books by Palestinian authors for this challenge, the Global South Challenge. And then I'll see how it goes, whether after 3 months I feel I need a change. Could be, maybe I read very little, so I will expand it for after those 6 months, but that's the plan for now. And then we will see whether this works better than this very broad goal, read authors from the Global South. The classics, oh yeah, and then the favorite presses. Again, that was not that successful last year. It was, again, too broad. I need goals that, when you have these goals, read more veggies. Eat more veggies. That never works because it's too vague. What more? More compared to what? If you tell yourself you have to read at least 100 grams of green vegetables every day or every other day, that is an achievable goal, and you can hold yourself accountable, and you know whether you have achieved it. If you just say eat more, do more sports, no, that doesn't work. Walk for 10 minutes every day, that works. So the same applies to books and reading, of course, and I should have known that. So I just want to I want to focus. And when it comes to presses, I said favorite presses, indie presses, and for 2024, I just picked one, and that's New Directions. New Directions. I will leave a link to their website down below. I read a couple of books last year from their list, and I really liked them. I looked at what they have, also a backlist. They don't publish that much every year, but I feel it's a publisher that is compatible with my reading taste. So I will give that a try. And again, I will, the goal is to read one of their books every other month, or in 2 months, one book. and I will see mid half, when the year's half over, looking for words, whether that work. But I think to focus on one publisher is just a more precise goal that I can actually achieve. Yes, and the last thing is the Women's Prize. I have to be honest, I still haven't made up my mind yet entirely. I do think if I read the fiction, I will only read the shortlist. 16 books or something is just too much of a commitment, because I always find gems, but a lot of the books I just don't like, or it's not my type of reading. So I read 10 books or something that I just don't like very much. And that is a waste of my time. It might be that I will focus on the nonfiction, because for the first time, the Women's Prize for fiction will also have a Women's Prize for nonfiction next year. So it might very well be that I try look at the long list for the nonfiction, and if I feel there are more than half of the books on there that I'm really interested in, I might read the long list of that. And otherwise, I will pick one of those two, either fiction or nonfiction, and will probably read the shortlist. But again, haven't made up my mind yet 100% what I will do. But I will not read the whole long list for fiction again. It's just not, yeah, it doesn't give me enough joy. So I will Marie Kondo the long list for the Women's Prize, most likely. And finally, I always pick the first book of the year I pick in December, and it's always a graphic novel or graphic nonfiction, because I don't read that type of format, and I want to, mostly it's one a year, the first book of the year. So I like to open the year with something, that is not very usual for my reading. So, and for this year, or for next year to be precise, I picked a graphic biography, and that is Kusama by Elise Macellari, published in 2020. And it's about this artist, Kusama, Yayoi Kusama, and I love her work. If you Google her, she's all about dots and stuff, and I've always really, really enjoyed her work. So when I saw that there was a graphic biography available, I picked it, I ordered it. This will be the first book for 2024. Anyway, these are my plans and goals for the next year. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments whether you have made plans, reading plans, or leave other comments. As you know, I'm always looking forward to your comments, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one, which will probably be on the last day of the year.